Hello, greetings. Welcome, everyone. Welcome our Facebook guests and around the world. It's here in Houston. I think it's 8 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in Dubai, around 3 o'clock in South Africa. And we're getting some feedback on our last episode, Destiny in Giving. And so we look forward to having this review and this conversation. Welcome, everyone. Sameena?
Yes, MrB. Good afternoon and good evening, everyone, and good morning for those who have just started the day. We are three of us today here, and Ms. Dedra couldn't join us because, of course, it's Ramadan, and everyone has their course for the day. So that's okay. So we will probably have her again back on our talks just after a few episodes. Ramadan is going to be a little up and down for us. Because some of us may be on the show always, or some of us kind of have to drop off 1 or 2 episodes. That's okay. So we will continue the show, and we will talk about the various nuggets, and wherever possible, we'll also try to continue to get our guests on this show. So yes, last time we were discussing about destiny in giving, and we had our friend Zai Mistake, who was telling us about her life and how she gives back to the community and everything. So I was just thinking about the nugget in itself. How does a person, actually give back to themselves? We give to the community, we give to our families, we give to our friends and everyone. So I think somewhere everyone needs to also give back to yourself. And when we are doing so, I think we are shaping our own destiny. Destiny, of course, is not 100% in our hands. But then, whatever it is, whatever choices we make or whatever we give ourselves as a choice, definitely, shapes up our destiny. So what do you have to say, Professor Mia, on this thought?
Well, there's so much that you can talk about, to be quite honest. And yes, to all of our Muslim listeners and viewers, etc., Ramadan Kareem to you. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody that's joining us. I'm missing Dedra already, to be quite honest. I can imagine what she would have said by now. But destiny for me, like I think we did mention this before, destiny is how you perceive. What exactly is destiny? Is destiny your actual destination? So is it the end of your journey? Or is destiny what you're working towards as part of what you're getting to? Is destiny your dream being fulfilled, or is destiny your direction that you're looking at and how to get to a specific goal, etc., etc.? So I think for every person out there, destiny is redefined by what you believe it to be. What some of us faithful or culturally would believe destiny to be is that it is written out for you, and you need to work towards what needs to be aligned to make sure that it is correct and properly done so that your destiny is fulfilled. But of course, when we talk about giving and giving to yourself, I always look at myself, and I teach this. I teach every bit of my teaching. Like I always say, a lot comes from what I've studied, yes, in the textbooks, but none of our textbooks actually equip us with life and what is happening in life. So my life's journey and my life's lessons thus far are what I teach to people. And this is why I say, for me, for example, when I am sometimes at my lowest and I feel I need some healing, I heal by healing someone else. I heal by giving to somebody else. And just them healing or them being different or me seeing their difference in what I've done for them becomes what I'm giving back to myself. So that works differently for everybody. It's not necessarily what can work for everyone. And remember, I'm not talking about you giving your money. I'm talking about you giving what is something that is freely given unto you, and that is your time. And like I said before, and I think it was the last segment, there is this gift that you are given. Every single one of us is given this gift of time and gift of choice. So what you choose to do with the time you are given can ultimately determine how you give back to yourself and how you give back to others. So how you do these things would obviously determine your destiny as well. So I know this is my own experience. This is what I talk from, and this is where
Yes,
I'm saying what
Right.
I'm saying.
you put it very clearly. You have really defined the two aspects very clearly, and how you give yourself and how you also give yourself when you're giving to someone else. Let's
Yeah.
hear from Mr. B. What is your thought on this?
And I really appreciate how you guys are bringing out the point. This kind of adding to what we did last week and how we were covering these very points on destiny in giving. I know, well, you mentioned a couple of things anyway. One of them is when we're speaking about giving, if we don't have money, we can't talk about giving money. And if you give money, it's like giving someone a fish. It will be consumed and then they will need again. But if you teach someone how to fish, they will learn how to fend for themselves forever. And so that's one of the points you mentioned. At the same time, the destiny can be defined in so many ways. And what I brought it up was, I was using an example saying, somewhere in my youth or childhood, I must have done something good. But that's me looking back and thinking that the things that are happening to me at the current moment, the nature of my destiny is working out for me at that moment. But when we were a youth, we did not know where we're going or whether or not our path is the right path, whether or not our destiny, we are on the road to it. And so this conversation could say, what do you do? What do you give back in the early days, potentially to get back? And it calls into question whether or not the reason for giving is your interest in getting. And I'm going to say, yes, why not? It may be controversial for some, but yes, if you want your life to be good, why not behave well when you're a youth or a child or something? It might turn out to be good. So you're giving back your personality, you're giving back your happiness, you're giving back your smiles as a youth, may lead to a better life as an adult. And that's what I was seeing destiny as. You know, we cannot determine how it's going to turn out, but boy, it sure helps if we start thinking along the way from the early parts.
Yes, speaking about some of the sayings which normally people use, that what goes around comes around.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
So
I just
if
want to
you,
add something quickly, Sameena. There's someone who did ask me something, and it was based on what we spoke about last week and a lot of what Mr. B has just said now. So since this is our feedback session, I think it would be a good time to bring it up. Is we talk about destiny as if it is an end result when you're an adult. The question is, how are we reaching our youth to realize that they need to work hard at a younger age for exactly what Mr. B is saying, to get to a better destination? So we ask ourselves now, we have multiple discussions, and I have a youth development program that runs currently in 4 different parts of the world. But my point is, it takes effort, it takes chance, it takes time again, and actually it takes the youth themselves to have the correct mindset to want to absorb and understand that what we are teaching is for their benefit. It's not for our benefit. So when we want to try and get the youth involved, how do we get them really to realize it's for their benefit? It's for their benefit to change certain patterns of behavior. And I know Mr. B has said this before about how he comes from a single mom, and a lot of how he's become who he has become is purely out of her strength of who she was. And I'm saying, if you convert that into today's way of life, I have so many youth that I have had to counsel who come from single moms and single parent homes, some of them single dads, and they actually misuse, or should I say abuse, that stance to do wrong in today's world. Today, it's not a motivating factor for them, like Mr. B has used it. And this is why I love what he does, is because he himself is this iconic figure that even the youth can look up to today to say, wow, okay, there's a different way to look at things, you know. You rather today have kids come on and say, well, I come from a broken home, So I will do the wrong things because that's the excuse I'll fall back on. So what's my destiny if I come from this? You know, in that sense. So I'm just, I think I'm doing the Dedra thing now and throwing you some but,
Yeah.
but that's just what's out there. You know, we need to touch on the youth issues. And that was one of the things that came back. And that when destiny is spoken about, how do we encourage the youth to realize that what they're doing in their youth does have an impact on what their destiny will be?
Yes.
That's right.
Yes. And that is the sense of my message. I know for sure that I wished I had more advice, more counsel, more direction when I was a youth. But since I had what I perceived to be none or very little, I had to be patient. And so if patience is a virtue that leads to your destiny, then you need to wait for it sometimes. And many times the youth, and even to us adults in this generation, we want everything and we want it now. So we have no patience. And so it's one of the words that comes up with me that says, wait for it. Wait for it. My grandson used to say, he calls me G-Pie, he says, wait for it, wait for it. And so it means it's coming. And patience, what do you do while you're waiting? Well, another friend of mine told me that the things that turned out for me is because you have been preparing for it all of your life. And I was like, really? He says, well, the things you're doing is not an accident. You've been preparing for it because you left your tentacles ready for, or your receptors ready to take something in. But if we're not patient and not preparing our minds and our mindsets, then we won't even see it coming. And windows of opportunities will open up and we won't see it coming. We won't be able to accept it.
Yes.
Sameena?
Yes. Yes, I completely agree with that thought. And I'm just looking back, I was just thinking in my life, if I have to think that who are the people who have really given to me? Yes, of course, my family has given. The most I think I've received from my dad and my mom. I can literally remember that the education, the guidance, though every time it seemed like my dad was very, very strict because all of us were like 6 girls at home there, and, no doing this, no doing that, no going, no staying late, no no wearing this, no wearing, everything was like, a very strict guideline for us. But yes, today it has really, made me what I am, and, whatever dad has given me and my education, and those principles, I really live by them. And it's only now, after he's gone, that I do understand some of those things, which I wouldn't even, relate to why he was saying something he was. Yes, destiny is definitely the choice, and what you do with what is given to you. God has given us this life, and we need to learn to respect it. We need to learn to see how best we can value our, even in terms of our body. We are taught in Islam to kind of think of, our organs, each of our fingers, our tongue, or our eyes, or our nose, ears, every part of our body, we are grateful for, because this is given to us by the Almighty, and we need to use this in the right way. So that's my thought on, in terms of, how destiny can, actually be coming in from what is given to you. Destiny can be decided, or whatever it is.
Right. Now, someone gave a feedback to me also. Again, looking at the program, they asked me, "Are you Muslim?" And I says, "No, I am not." But I get the best of both worlds, because I think they were looking at the YouTube channel and noticing the program and who is on. I said, I get the best of both worlds, because being able to reach audiences in South Africa, audiences in the Middle East, in Dubai, audiences in India, audiences in the Philippines and around the world, here in America, I think Dedra represents very well our Alabama region. It kind of gives us a really good perspective, because people have a perception of what something is going to be. But as I said, I left my perceptors open in order to receive. And because we know there was definitely more joy in giving, but there was an aspect of joy that was associated with receiving. So I left my receptors open to receive around the world the wisdom of the world. And the wisdom of the world says it comes from not just anywhere, it comes from everywhere. And it makes me more of an educated global person in order to see that I've been given the art of giving back and given the opportunity to talk about what really is giving, what really is getting, and why doesn't it has anything to do with money, as you mentioned, Mia? You know, because again, if I speak about money, I will say I want to be getting first. But when I'm talking about giving, I wanted to talk about something priceless. And what's priceless is given our time, given our attention, given our smile, and like I said in some aspects of, or some places I do stand-up speaking, I speak about the door open. Hold the door open for someone who's coming. But it metaphorically, it's more. It applies to a door of opportunity so that we can learn, and learning helps us to get to our destiny. That's what's going to make the difference, is that we prepare ourselves from our youth and from on, open up our minds and open up the doors of our minds to receive more so that we can give more. And there'll be more episodes where we're going to be talking about different forms of giving as we continue on, talking about the art of giving back, the book, The Art of Giving Back. But that's what I'm looking at it from. Sameena?
Yes, absolutely. I just want to add that, you know, you have given me such a precious gift. It's not money, definitely, but then it's a chance or you know, an opportunity to be on this platform with you and with, you know, such big personalities like Professor Mia, as well as Ms. Dedra and yourself. You know, I really feel a sense of accomplishment, and it was destined maybe that, you know, I did get into this at the beginning of this year, and this was the right time. And I also am going to be starting a podcast for my own organization. So we just you know, revealed the logo of the podcast, which is Zuleika Connect, in our last program. I think you would have seen it on my social media.
Right.
So yeah, what I mean to say here is I have used this opportunity, what was given to me. It was, of course, destined to come my way because, yes, somebody like MrB saw that, okay, fine, she could be on this.
No,
And,
but I see how that's, and Mia, you can chip in. I see that's how destiny worked. When I first met you at an event, you were moderating a panel. And I was like, wow, this lady sounds amazing. And when we look at what we say, how did we come together? How did I say that to you? How did I get to meet you? And is that a form of behavioral patterns that leads to a destiny? Because we knew not that we were going to be on this program together. And so having met someone, having been polite, having smiled and gave a greeting, led you to believe, or left the receptors open to have you believe that is, looking back at it now, that is destiny, that you met somebody or you crossed your path. And so those behaviors make a difference.
Very thankful for that. Yes, I'm very, very thankful to God for this. Thank you.
But I think we should all just say a huge congratulations to Sameena, because that's a bold and yet brave and beautiful move, which I think if we asked you about 8 months ago, you probably would not have said, okay, I'm not going to do that. It's there, but I don't think I'll be able to. Look at you today. So that's just giving yourself, and trust me, when you're going to be doing your own, inshallah, you will find so much of benefit for you within yourself when you see the difference it's making. And I'm telling you, MrB will be able to also tell you that. When you know you're making the differences to people's lives, whether it be 1 or 20 or 1,000, you know that you're doing it. And that just motivates you to want to do the next one and the next one and the next one. That's what keeps us all going, you know? So, and this is why I say MrB and what he's doing, I don't think when he first started, he himself realized how big he'd be. So, and he is, and the impact on the lives he's made, wow, it's just amazing. So, I think that's just destiny on its own. This whole podcast, this whole viewing of what we do every week and how many people is touching. That's, the people that we touch with what we talk about, and we don't know this, but we're probably altering someone's destiny or someone's mindset with just one or two of our words or sentences, or just something that we're saying. And we just keep praying to God that it's for a positive difference. And even now we have to pray to say, let our youth be listening to us, and also listen and think, wow, you know what, wait, I can resonate with that. That makes sense for me. I can change that, So, and so I'm just saying congratulations, Sameena, again on this. And I think it's going to be really, really, really awesome. It's going to be awesome. Well done.
So much.
Thank
That
you for
was so
having
motivating.
I'm saying Mr. B should also be congratulated for finding you. So well done.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, because we started and we kicked off giving with humility, and we spoke about that extensively. Then we captured how spouses give back to the community. And so the chance, these subjects are still on wherever you get your podcasts, on Apple and Google and Buzzsprout, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Again, those subjects, talking about forms of giving back, arts of giving back. We covered, like, do you need an intent to give back? What's the driving force behind it? And even slipped in one of the nuggets asking when compliments go wrong, because we were thinking sometimes that we can give someone something, like even a compliment, but we could have the wrong meaning or the wrong understanding without, respecting the culture or the difference in persons, and why we got to destiny. But we wouldn't stop there, because sometimes we do make these mistakes. And so next session, the next time we talk about giving back, we'll be talking about mistaken kindness and giving. And even later on, Dedra will be back and we'll cover giving back to yourself. And we thought it was a very important subject. And that was one I really look forward to talking about. We may end up making 2 different episodes with that. And so as we go through these different nuggets, it goes on and on and on of different forms of giving. And for most part, you probably never get to the end of my book and talk about giving money. And the reason, again, why, yes, people around the world do need financial resources, but we should keep it private. Let's not talk about how much and what we did and giving back. It's just so wrong in a sense, when we have a lot of aspects of giving back worth talking about before covering what financial resources are needed.
Yes, I completely agree with that. That, it's a personal choice as to, how much money I would like to give someone, or whatever I would like to do with my own money. Yes.
Because it's only limited reaching as compared to the priceless aspects of giving.
Yes.
And when I train, I told someone something can go away. I think I mentioned it a lot. If I give someone a certain amount of financial resources, it's going to be consumed and it's going to go away. But I'd rather give some priceless wisdom that would last forever. And even if a robber in the street was to steal your money or your financial resources, your ability and knowledge and wisdom of how to make money, for example, is something that no one can take away from you. And so those are priceless type things that no one can take away, or you can't really lose until you decide to, until you cease to exist, something you will have forever.
Yes, absolutely. I think I've learned some very good lessons from these experiences of selfless giving. And then in terms of, I've met new friends, I've made very wonderful friends, I must say, on the show. And this is a result of Mr. B's giving back selflessly to us, to me. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mia?
I really think that we each, every day, I for one am a lifelong learner, and I think I'm never going to stop with the learning. And the more we keep learning, the more we learn how to keep giving back, because you learn more about what you can absorb. And the more you can learn to absorb something positive, the more you can give back to others. And like I said before, for me to heal myself, I love healing someone else. But for everybody, it's different. But we do need to realize sometimes when you just give a smile, that's just giving. Like Mr. B said, when you just open the door for somebody, that's just giving back. It does not have to be of a specific value in nature. It's just sometimes will be sporadically. You won't even realize you're doing something that good for someone, but you will be changing somebody's life with just a mere good morning to a stranger who's just not looking as good as everybody else. You know, some small acts of kindness is just what is required in this world of today. But I just really I just say yes, this show is great. What we're giving off is great. The feedback we're getting from people is awesome. And I just think the more we're going to keep going through these nuggets, the more we're going to also realize that each one somehow is linked into the other. If we talk about each of them, each one is kind of linked into the next one, really.
Yes. So our next session, we'll be covering mistaken kindness in giving. And the reason this one is going to be, I think, interesting to talk about is sometimes we can, our good-hearted giving can backfire. Sometimes our giving might go wrong because you may be giving someone something that they really don't need, and you think they do, but they may not. And I raise a question: is it any a time that it's okay to take back what you gave someone? So these and other questions we'll discuss over the next few weeks, and we'll be in the program. Thank you everyone for participating. Thank you for participating with us, and we look forward to talking to everyone again and again as we keep coming on and trying to come on live and sharing and giving back right here on Free Talk with MrB. You can send your feedback via email, MrB@freetalkwithMrB. You can reach any of us on our social media platforms and give your input, because we look forward to that. And so from here in the United States and around the world, if it's Sunday, it's Free Talk. It's Free Talk with MrB. Talk to you guys again soon. We'll come off from being live.
Yeah.